welcome to episode 37 of the Redseap podcast. Uh, Once again, this had a bit like 2 minutes delay because I was once again facing some audio issues, so I hope everything is fine. Today is gonna be a quick, more or less, recap of the Panserraikos win and just a chance. I'll take today as a chance to look at the schedule ahead. I'm glad the sound is okay. I'm very glad. I had to save it last minute. I realized there was an issue last minute, thankfully. But before I get into anything, do follow the show everywhere if you like what you see. Subscribe and like here. There is a whole backlog of content waiting and new stuff just piling and popping up. The first episode of the Red Sea Chronicle is previous to this episode, where I had the amazing honor to host uh, the football stadium show, who you should definitely go check out. That will be a YouTube exclusive series. That will be a YouTube exclusive. Uh, that won't be going up on Spotify like the usual episodes. I am still working on the details of the Chronicle series. Thumbnails will change, some stuff will change, the name will stay the same, but it will be YouTube exclusive. So, like, subscribe, turn on the bell to not miss either an episode uh, of the actual show or the chronicles, who I will hopefully have some very, very, very good, to say the least, yes, coming up. As I mentioned, Spotify, the episodes do go up a couple of hours after, if Spotify, as usual, decides to work with me. Constant updates on Instagram and Twitter. Uh, Interaction is at the max everywhere. And of course, the Patreon, who in which I really need to make sure I get the announcement video up. That should be up hopefully within the week, I'd say. But yeah, go check out everything there. The rewards are more or less set now. I just haven't gotten really into the process of announcing them publicly or putting them in the Patreon tiers, which I will soon enough. That's about it from the absolute shameless promotion. Let's get into it, shall we? Of course, Olympiacos, as I wrote in the title, got a nervy victory, to say the least, against Panserraikos, with the scorer from Panserraikos, Juan Salazar, pulling out every celebration in existence, only to concede, I think, literally 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, to uh, us and Ayub Al, which is honestly just karmic justice, if I do say so myself. Yes, they were the most annoying football celebration in existence after the take the L trend that existed a few years ago. And before the war, I'm pretty sure he did like two or three different celebrations. He was having so much fun, and yet he took uh, this. He took this. Massive shout out, honestly, because I do want to give uh, players, even if it's from the opposite team, even if it's from a smaller team, to let me not butcher the man's name, to Luka Gudjeshashvili, the young Georgian goalkeeper who honestly performed amazingly for Panserraikos. The score could have easily been more. Like our guys maybe didn't play incredibly, but the score for me could have easily been more. We also got unlucky. Uh, we also got relatively unlucky on some chances, let's say. Really? That's interesting. It's rare to see free transfers be a success for smaller teams. That's nice. I do have to check that out as soon as I possibly can after the show. But yes, the lineup, as always, was Kostas Ntsolakis under the sticks, uh, Rodinei partnered by the team sits dead. Come on. This app is really something. SofaScore is really, really, really something, and I don't know why I still use it. Okay, there it is. It was Kostas Zolakis under the stage with Orodine, Retsos, Carmo, and Costiña. Then it was the starters we know and love in Christos Mouzakidis and Santiese. Then it was Velde, Chiquinho, and Gelson Martins. And up top was the deadly, thankfully deadly Ayub El Kabi. Um, Subs coming in were Apostolopoulos for Costiña around the 67th, 68th was Costulas for Chiquinho, and then Papacanelos, Dani Garcia, and Yorgos Masouras. The first little comment I want to make starting off is how happy I am that Papacanelos seems to be integrated in the squad by now. Uh, he grabbed his chance and took it perfectly in the cup, and we saw him again uh, in the game against Panserraikos. And hopefully, there is a belief that we'll see him on Thursday as well. I really hope that we'll see him on Thursday. Along with, of course, Musa, Kostulas, and I'm still holding out so much hope for Bakulas. I'm sure he'll get his chance very, very soon. With another national break coming up soon, in which tickets have been sold out. Oaka has been sold out for the Greece England game, which is crazy to see after so many. I don't remember Waka being sold out in my lifetime. That so that was just a nice detail to throw in. But with another national break coming up, I do hope and pray that Bakulas is given a chance because I'm sure that if he is given a chance, he will grab it. And another player that I am honestly holding out for is, as I've said publicly before, water is much needed, especially when you go solo. I was very close to a coughing fit, but I'm okay. But yes, another talent I have mentioned publicly that I am really, really anticipating his first team debut is Stavros Pneumonidis. which just have so much talent coming through, even out on loan, that you can't help but anticipate all the debuts. So much. I know people will never understand how hard it is to sell out a stadium like Oaxaca unless you are as familiar with Greek football as we all are. Now, after praising the youth once again, as I am probably gonna do every show, because how can you not praise the youth? I do want to focus on another player, uh, a player that may finally be showing something like what he showed in our pre-season and at the start of the season, and that's Christopher Welde finding two goals in consecutive games after a horrific run of form. And maybe this finally means we will see the Welde that we want to see. There is a bit of an attitude issue with Christopher Welde, as it seems. There is a bit with a passion issue, per se, with Christopher Welde, as it seems. But Welde, the good Welde, the on form Welde, has the talent to get that goal, has the talent to get that assist, to earn that penalty, to do stuff that we need him to do in games like this at the bare minimum. We also need him to do this in bigger games, in European games, in derbies. Uh, but as I said 2 shows ago, or even in the previous show, the Califea game and the Panserraikos game, while they don't necessarily prove anything, while they don't necessarily prove a single thing, uh, they were arguably the biggest chance anyone would have all season to get back on form. And the man that did grab the chance to do that, aside of course, as I said earlier, with Papacanelos integrating himself in the first team, is, as it seems, Christopher Welde. Now I see these two comments. I think I covered this. Like, come on, he played well with Calthea and Panserraikos. He needs to show up more. I think I just covered that without even wanting to. I'm not saying that what he did was nearly enough, but I am saying that it was a good start to grab some momentum, grab a couple of goals, grab an assist maybe, and get back on the much needed form for the brutal 4 games coming up, which are Rangers, PAOK, AEK, and Steaua. I'm hopeful. I'm not that hopeful, but I'm hopeful. We'll see what Mendy believes as well, of course, above all. And I do believe this, that he does need to have a coach's arm around him and to tell him that he does, and we all believe in him. I do believe he needs that constant. I don't know how to say this in a non disrespectful way, but I do believe that Velde is a player that he needs the ego boost per se. But we'll see. There is glimpses of hope. There really is glimpses of hope. It's just not enough. At least not yet. Uh, Olympiacos for me is still a very unpredictable game. But I won't touch on it a lot because it's still too early. Of course, both teams grabbing a nervy win after a bad weekend. Uh, so it's still very, very early. It's honestly the best case scenario for fans right now, in my opinion at least, is to take it game by game. As insane as the comments from some truly nonsensical people will drive you, the same insanity will come if you just look ahead 4, 5 games. For example, now we have a very, very important game against a struggling, to say the least, Rangers, which we need to convert into a win. It's a home game which we need to convert into a win, and it's a home game that, if we do convert to a win, may very well give us enough momentum and enough of a psychological boost that we not only go on and show that in the two derbies coming up, but use it to secure that top eight we need and that round of 16 spot. And okay, I didn't say that. Rangers just got a confidence boost by winning a cup semi-final. Huh, that's interesting. That's a scenario that we didn't want. But let's hope that it stays at that. Because as far as I have seen, and I haven't kept up with Rangers a lot as a team, but I've been trying. They are crumbling. It's Panathinaikos under Alonso levels of crumbling, as far as I understand. So we'll see. Let's hope that confidence boost isn't anything insane. Because for me, some people said that um, they some people said that they would sacrifice the game. I think that's the correct word. Uh, I don't think we should look to quote unquote sacrifice any game. I know that it's not possible to say that, yeah, we're a super team, we're gonna win all four. Of course, there is a big chance we lose one of these games. Uh, but I don't like the mentality of, yeah, I don't care what happens at that game. Let's focus on winning the other three. Or let's focus on this organization and just being this organization off. We are we are Olympiacos. We need to be after every game, not demand to win every game. We need to demand to try and win every game. We need to demand to do our, not just our best, but to give our 110% every game. That's what we need to demand from Olympiacos. No matter the sport, no matter the circumstances, no matter if it's our best or worst season, we need to demand passion and effort because that's what Olympiacos is, at least for me, at the very least for me. And yeah, exactly. It's a home game. If we don't demand trying at home in Europe, what are we supposed to do? Honestly. And even if some tweaks in the 11 do happen, I still believe that even with a few second unit players in, we can win this game. I do really believe that this game is very, very winnable. no disrespect to Rangers, but with everything that's been going on and how this team plays, especially focusing in Europe, this game should be very winnable. And without wanting to be delusionally hopeful, I think this game may also just, as I said, give us the needed momentum to secure top 8. And I do believe that, again, I do believe that if we have done our homework, as you say, George, we'll expose their weaknesses because the Rangers have some weaknesses that show. Rangers have some weaknesses that show very openly too. And Rangers have some weaknesses that fit Mendilibar's play style perfectly, in my opinion. Once again. Uh, so yeah, I don't see the absolute need to sacrifice a game. Going back to the Panserraikos game, just a bit. Am I hopeful that this win meant something in general? No, because it was a Nervy win against a side that is currently 10th and under major threat of being in the relegation zone very, very soon, given the points difference. But it did show a lot, both negatives and positives, at least in my opinion. It did show that, first of all, and most importantly, as I said before, the youth are here to play, and that does include Papacanelos again. It did show that uh, Costinha is more versatile than we ever thought and can easily be an emergency left back if needed. Not that it should be needed, but in the state that we are right now, Costinha in games like this can cover a much needed gap. It did also show that our best midfield pairing in this team is Christos Mouzakitis and Santiago Ese. Again, as it stands right now. I would love, I would love for Chiquinho to play in his natural position again and to see that Chiquinho has a partnership with Musa as a super sub. But as things stand right now, with no clear number 10, no clear fit number 10 at least in the team, Musa and Ese fit perfectly. Another thing this game showed is that a fit Zelson is an irreplaceable piece of this team. I know the risk with the player that is Gelson Martins, but I've said it time and time again. This player is too good for Super League standards, and we need to utilize that like we have been doing. Do we need to take some precautions with the risk that comes with a Gelson Martins injury? Yes, but this player needs to be playing. He needs to be starting, both here and in Europe. Yes, exactly my point. Exactly the point I was building into. I love the Rodinei Costinha side when it's needed. And it is needed sometimes. But the Rodinei Selson right side is not only a duo that many teams would want and need even from higher leagues, but it's a duo that covers up so much of our weaknesses so well. So he needs to be utilized to the fullest. And before I go on, I need to touch on this. Yes, as I said, the fact that we only scored two is more or less down to Gudiashashvili, who pulled off a wonder keeper performance. I do want to check our big chances. Yes, we had two big chances and we had 19 shots. Uh, with 10 of them on target, actually. So the majority of the shots were on target. I do want to check if I can find the expected goals. I can't, sadly. There is no expected goals that seem to be noted down. We did also hit the woodwork ones. That is also worth to be noted. So yeah, we did dominate all around. Whether that's passing, whether that's chances, whether that's possession. Those need to be noted as positives. We can't, as a fan base, keep focusing on the negatives. All it does is not only drive us up the roof, absolutely nut job insane, but it harms the mentality around the club as well. Social media is a trap, and I'll keep saying that. And it can harm a club more than we know. Uh, yes, a win is a win. A win is a win, whatever happens. But my point is that we did not play as badly as people say it out to be. For me, we didn't play good. Of course, we didn't. It wouldn't be a Nervy win if we played good. But there are positives to keep, like the positives I've kept noting down. And there is a lot to say from this match, and it's nowhere near just just negatives. Um, Another person that I do want to focus on, and that's probably going to be it for the game. Uh, Actually, 2 points now that I see them. Can we stop attacking players, please? I've said this many a time and I'll say it again. There has been a lot of hate aimed at Apostolopoulos lately. Uh, and I'm very against it. I stand against hate against certain players for many reasons, but with a kid like Apostolopoulos, I'm more than against it. Is he a player that right now can get the majority of playtime for Olympiacos, like a second string left back would? No, no. Apostolopoulos needs to develop a lot. Is it his fault that he needs to take the second string left back role? Also, no. We need to realize that some players can make mistakes, and we need to realize that players can still develop. The best case for Apostolopoulos for me would be a loan. A loan deal for him to come back, better player. But we can't afford that right now. And again, that is not on Apostolopoulos. Let me remind you all we have another left back project out on loan, and that's Doron Leitner, who I would love to see play for us. And in hindsight, keeping Leitner maybe was less of a risk than keeping Apostolopoulos. But we do have people out on loan that will come back. There is chances. There is time. I know that we've seen a lot of shit this season, but there is a lot of stuff to get in our heads because before calling someone useless. Uh, I know. It's never pretty against teams who defend deep against us. It really is never pretty against these teams this season. We've struggled. We've struggled. That's shown on results, that's shown on stats. But if we can stand on our feet, dominate, and convert 2 or 3 chances against these teams, I would be more than happy. And with how the league is going this season, that picking up those scrappy 2-1, 3-1, 1-0 wins, even if fans complain, that can win us the league this season. That can easily win us the league. And this comment actually will make me bring back a rant that I had during the summer. When Jimmy's name was heard and we all were going absolutely bananas, and some of us did fall for it, including me, there were some people that said that Kostas Tsimikas is finished and he's just washing Robertson's seat now. How was those comments going? How have those comments staged with Jimmy now looking very well like Liverpool's starting left back? Just wanted to say that for people who act like they know but don't know shit, don't listen to randoms or you'll go insane. Said that many times. Going back to this, um, I don't think a singular fan can truly understand what goes on in players' heads. And players like Apostolopoulos that check social media, players that are closer to our age, younger than us, that check social media constantly and see comments like this. The biggest example I can think of is Brennan Johnson, Tottenham's Brennan Johnson, who got racist comments day in and day out, deactivated his Instagram, scored 7 goals. Social media can kill players' moralities. It can kill it for good. So we need to support our players. This phrase is basically the motto of the show by now, but criticism is accepted by everyone. Criticism is accepted by managers, players, creators, everyone. As long as it's constructive and human, distraction is not only harming everyone, but it's not accepted by most either. People need to realize that the name on the jersey, the face behind the camera, to give my example, the face that's sitting on the team's bench barking out orders. We're all humans. We're all fucking same. And we all get destroyed by comments sometimes. We all have a psyche that can rise to the highest of highs and drop to the lowest of lows. And people need to keep understanding that. And so support and constructive criticism. In Cyprus, over 80% of players said social media negatively affects them badly to the point it's in their mind when they play. It's not only in Cyprus, though. Even in bigger leagues, people may not come out to say it, but how many times have we seen, with Brennan Johnson being only the more recent example, how many times have we seen people deactivating their social media when the abuse has gotten to an unbearable point, just killing and killing mentalities over and over. Hate comments, abusive comments. Serie A is the main fault, main victim of this whole pandemic, let's say, of hate and racist abuse. How many players have publicly shown that they could send the most racist of messages after a loss? Another example that comes to mind is Bukayo Saka after the Euro miss penalty a couple of years ago. Every abuse he got. And it's not only racism, it's any type of abuse that can fully kill a player's mentality. Uh, Let me actually read this. It's sad that even after so many players came out and talked about struggling with depression, haven't got the needed amount of attention. Even in Greece, when Bakasetas came out and talked about his battle with depression when he was in I. Yes, exactly. I have never been shy of openly saying that I advocate for mental health a lot, and I am always going to use this platform to raise awareness to the destructive sickness that is depression, the destructive thoughts you get. I've never been shy about saying that I've dealt with shit myself. You never know what the other one's dealing with, and yet uh, depression is still treated like a joke. There is so many players that just struggle with so much, and all we see from that struggle is solely bad form. While these players are contemplating the worst of thoughts inside their head, and yet, due to that bad form, because of their mentality being in the absolute slums, they get even more and more abuse piled and piled on, death messages, anything, humane or not. And we treat players like animals. Then I know, yeah, boohoo, fucking millionaires. We're all human, no matter what we do or play. And abuse, for me at least, is never, ever, ever okay. Playing with someone's mental health is never okay, no matter who it is. Especially if you don't know them. We see a name, we see a personality, we see, even with the most open of players, we never know what they truly go through. Mm, Abuse is just something I could. Abuse is just something I absolutely despise. Fasano, yes. Do go up and look uh, Justin Fasano. Uh, and it's not my my head's blanking on the name. German keeper. Uh, that his depression just got him. Can't say the word on YouTube or else the channel is gonna be gone immediately. Uh, the the Bernd Leno interview comes to mind from the hate he had gotten. Robert Enke, thank God Uh, do go look up those two names, Justin Fasano and Robert Enke, and you'll see what abuse truly does, and ignorance truly does. I remember the interview that Leno had came out and said from when he was also struggling with mentality issues after a bad run of form, and people were telling him do it like NK. And when I first saw that interview, my jaw dropped. We turn into absolute animals sometimes. Yes, also the hate within the league for Yorgos Athanasiadis last year from his own fans. The hate that we give to some of our players, as I mentioned before. I will gladly over and over again waste 15-20 minutes of any show to advocate about how much more mental health needs to be treated seriously and go on rants and rants. I did miss this. The Italians are wild. I can go on about how batshit crazy racist the Italians are. That's a whole different level of insanity. But yes, to finish off, because the rant got me, uh, the rant even got me. The match day coming up is more than important per se with PAOK. We won't touch on it a lot now, but of course, if we beat PAOK, we do jump them in the table. We do go up to 21 points and they stay on 20. Uh, and with the absence of Razvan Lucescu, we see that PAOK are more than shaken with the loss to Ofi, with almost losing to Lamia, uh, with Furtado giving Lamia the lead. Um, it is a shaky form that we need to make use of. Man of the match, yes. The player ratings will be back on, if not Thursday, against PAOK, and they will stay consistent this time. Man of the match for me, it's really between Rodinei, uh, Ayub, and Zelson, and I think I'll give it to Zelson. I think my man of the match is Zelson Martins with uh, Ayub El Gabi and Rodinei a very, very close second. And a shout out to Santiese for having an incredible match in the midfield. Um, very busy week coming up for the show. Hopefully, including uh, a collab, but updates on that will come by tomorrow night, hopefully, with an announcement. But if not, there will be a preview show. There will be a post-game show for Rangers, like usual. EuroLeague shows will be back. I know I did miss last week, but most of my focus was on the Red Sea Chronicles, and of course, pre and post-game shows for PAOK. So a lot of shows to be expected this week. We're back like normal. Life happens sometimes, I'm aware, but I missed being on a normal multi-show per week schedule. Excited. You are all seeing all my plans come to fruition very slowly, with the Patreon coming up, the Chronicles coming up, new collabs, new series coming up, and you are giving me so much motivation with all this support. And I can't thank you enough. That's about it for today. With the run taking more than I expected. Thank you for sticking by me, especially in episodes like this, and I'll see you in a couple of days. Thank you.